What's going on, everybody? Another daily trading recap. Today, we only took one trade. It hit over 100%. I believe it was about 150%. And we caught the absolute low of day in the morning session on SPY. We took that 405 bounce. It got back to high of day, and our team ate. So education is the most important thing, and education is key. And I pride myself on teaching you guys, whether you have the money to join our group or not. We're having a 50% off sale right now. Whether you have the money to join the group or not, I like to just give you guys free education because I remember when I was first learning, I had to pay, thousands of dollars if I wanted to take a course, and I didn't have that kind of money. And so I was just digging into YouTube, and I had to learn everything myself. So I want to give back a little bit. If you do want to join, use code 50 FIFTY on 50% on it off any plan currently on the website earlybirdoptions.com. But without further ado, let's show you guys why we had 405 as the bounce on SPY today, because you need to know the why behind it so you guys can execute on these types of trades. So without further ado, let me share my screen. All right, so today we had this SPY 404 to 405 bounce for calls. That was the only trade that we took. However, if you took this Walmart trade, we would have caught a 50% trade. But yeah, this was the only trade we caught, SPY 4445 bounce. So let's go here to the SPY weekly chart, and let's zoom in a little bit like that and expand it. So on the weekly chart, notice we gapped up above that area, and then we had two separate weeks bounce in this area. So every one of these candles represents a week. So we wicked down all the way to that area and bounced aggressively. Wicked down the next week again, bounced aggressively. We had another bounce right here. I should put an arrow right there, but there's no arrow. We rejected here, we rejected here, we bounced, we rejected, and then we bounced a few weeks ago. So this area is a strong supply and demand area. So we really like to take advantage of those strong key levels. So 405 today was a key level. Now, we did want to take advantage of the breakdown of, let's go to the 12-hour chart and I'll show you. We did want to take advantage of this yellow line for puts. And I wish I would have recorded the Discord live trading session, because I was saying, we could take a breakdown of 406 into 405 and then flip to calls once we get to 405. We didn't actually do that. We ended up just taking the higher probability setup for the bounce. However, if we took this 406 breakdown, we could have caught a 60% move to the downside on puts, and then flipped a call and caught the ride back up for over 100%. Anyways, I'm happy with the day. I'm happy with catching that nice bounce trade. But yeah, this was the level. Let's actually go to the hourly chart, and you guys can see this level a little more clearly. So historically, we bounced here, we rejected there, we bounced here. So this is a pretty key level. We rejected here, bounced. This arrow was on the weekly, so it's a little off, but we rejected this area here. So let's zoom into current price action. And so about a month ago, at the end of last month, we rejected 404. Once we got above it, we rejected 405 and bounced at 404. Let's zoom into that so you guys can see it. So we rejected 404, so supply. Then once we got above it, supply turned into demand. So 404 became demand. And then we exploded, and look how we closed with a very bullish Marubozu candle with significantly high volume. This hourly candle at the close is very abnormal. And so we know there's a lot of buyers positioned above this area. So it is in their best interest to keep prices above this area. So that's a very important key detail. And so now let's go, actually, let's just zoom back over here to today's price action. Bam. All right. So today, this is on the hourly chart. We came right to 405, bounced, and exploded to the upside all the way up to, I can't see the price, to 407.84. So almost a $3 move, which doesn't sound like a lot if you're not an options trader, but the contracts moved 150% in that short amount of time. So let's go to the 5-minute chart, and you guys can see exactly how pinpoint that bounce was. So we bounced right here at 405, and this is where we got into calls. We actually bounced 404 as well, but that happened within an hour of the close, so I don't really like to trade that, especially if I caught a monster move like this one. So we took this bounce. If you look at on the 1 minute chart, you guys can see a little more detail. And this is that breakdown of 406 I was talking about. We wanted to take puts here, and it was a very quick move down, 10-minute move, 60% to the downside. And then we obviously, I already told you guys, we didn't catch the puts. It would have been nice. But we did get into calls here on this wick at 1026. And just to show you guys proof of that, right here, yeah, you see 1026 right here. We filled SPY 405 calls at $115. I actually got filled at 117. I did a market order. They were at 115, but I got filled at 117, and I clarified to my team that I got filled $2 higher. But I got filled at 117 and right here, and I didn't get a full fill. And so it popped up and came right back down, and that's where I added more. And I liked my position size at that point. I wish I was taking a little heavier, especially, you know, when a trade hits 150% in a day, you always wish you were heavier, but there'll always be another trade. So anyways, we caught this bounce right here, and then we got up to 406, and we're sitting up around 50 to 60%. And I told my team, we're having a nice bull flag here. And the VWAP was right above it. So let me just throw the VWAP on so you guys know what we saw. We kept rejecting it right there, yeah. So we had this bull flag, we broke out, rejected this VWAP, but we kept holding. And I told our members, I think we're gonna rip through this. It does not look like a type of rejection that we're gonna continue back down to the downside. And that's exactly what happened. We broke out this bull flag, rejected the VWAP, went right back up to it, soft rejection again, and then just ripped through and went to high of day. High of day was right here initially. So this was the high of day, intraday, and then we broke it, and the rest is history. So hopefully that made a lot of sense to you guys. We found this level on the weekly, then the 4-hour time frame, and then the hourly time frame. And that 406 trade would have been nice as well to the downside. But yeah, very simple, very straightforward. A lot of new traders don't feel comfortable taking calls after a massive move down, but that's something that you should get over. And the only way to get over that, get used to taking calls, called at such a strong downtrend. The only way to do that is by starting to practice doing it with smaller position size. You know, buy a contract, just see how it moves. And then after a few weeks, a couple months, you can buy 2 contracts, and then 5, and then 10, and so on and so forth. But always put on the amount of risk that you're comfortable with. You don't want to, if your account size is, let's say, $1,000, you don't want to go in full size $1,000 trade. You know, you could, for example, with this one, you could have turned that 1,000 into a couple thousand today. But on the flip side, if you were wrong, you know, you could have a significant dent into your buying power. So you don't want to turn $1,000 into 800 or 700, taking a 20 to 30% loss. So the best way to do it would be using a small percentage of your account. So you could have bought a couple contracts, you know, $200, and you could have turned that 200 into 400. So now your account will go from 1,000 to 1,200. So you made a $200 profit, right? So now you have a $1,200 account. Your account's up 20% in one day. All right, guys, I hope you guys learned. If you guys like videos like this, please give me a subscribe, hit the subscribe button, give me that thumbs up, and I'll try to do these more often, especially I'm getting a lot of interest from you guys. Much love. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a great rest of the week. See ya.